My sister, one of my best friends, and my then partner, all three of them were like they used to love dogs, petting dogs on the street. And I was like, "Arey, ye dog ko thoda dur rakho." Why you petting once or twice I literally touched a dog like I touched a hot pan, like just like that. And I said, okay, thank you for not doing anything to me. But now it is like 100% flip. The only place I can say pre and post is pre-Noor and post-Noor. Everything else is like okay. And sometimes people say, oh, you're literally, your life revolves around Noor. And I'm like, why not? Her life revolves around me. Whatever I bring to her, whatever I offer to her is what she makes the most out of. So he said, Abhi tomorrow you see you're fighting with me about a dog. Like, एक डॉग ही तो मर गया, क्या है, एक एक करके तुम्हारे सब पपीज गायब कर दूंगा.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of Humans of the Pack podcast. Today we have a very special guest for you, Mridula Iyengar. Mridula was so scared of dogs her entire life that when she first got home her beautiful indie Noor, she was even hesitant to touch her. From being a scared, hesitant pet mom to a mom who today can't even go on vacations without her dog Noor, this is the story of Mridula's transformation. Mridula is also a full-time lawyer and a mentor at the Pack, where she educates pet parents about their legal rights and responsibilities. Without much further ado, let's get into the episode now. Hi, and welcome everyone to the second episode of Humans of the Pack podcast. Today we have with us a very special guest. She is a mentor at the Pack. She's actually been a mentor at the Pack now for over 6 months. We have met her, we have trained her dog Noor, we have had a lot of fun together at social parties and hang out with other Pack parents. So somebody we know very closely and very dearly, and somebody who's also spearheading a lot of education and awareness around legal aspects of dog parenting and society rules and what is allowed and what is not allowed. So much she's doing. It's really exciting to welcome Mridula. Hi Mridula, how are you?
Hello, hi Shobit, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. It's really nice to start the week with a conversation with you. And let's start from the beginning, which is basically how you defined yourself before Noor. And I believe you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that your work was primary before Noor,
Oh
right? So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about like what you do and how's that going?
So I have always been, very into my work kind of person, and my work was something that kept me going for the longest time. And I'm into financial laws, capital markets, but being in the legal field, I kind of keep myself updated about wherever I'm passionate and the legal side of that. Now it's animal rights. So, and all thanks to Noor, I've realized how important it is for us to be able to speak for them, because they obviously cannot fight for their own rights. So that's the off duty area that of law that I enjoy. So yeah, that was
How
pre Noor.
wonderful. But like being a lawyer must be really, really tough, right? Like it has long hours and you have a lot of different kinds of work that come to you, different kinds of projects that come to you.
Yeah.
Um, in that scenario, like raising a dog can be challenging. And like
Yes.
how are you able to manage both your work life and your mom life parallelly?
So one thing that happened, luckily, in my case, not for the rest of the world, is COVID, because that brought in the concept of hybrid working. And in my organization, right from our CEO to our head of HR and COO, who's my boss, everyone has dogs. And a bunch of them have indie dogs as well. So it's, I think they kind of get it why I would want to stick to the hybrid work model. And I think that's a big blessing for me. And that way I'm able to balance my days at work and then at home with Noor. And also they're aware that it's just me for her, so I cannot leave her with someone, or something like that, and just come to work every day for 14 hours. So that's not possible. So yeah.
It's really amazing to have like supportive co-workers. I know it's
Yeah.
we don't talk about it enough, but I think coworkers are equally a part of our pack as we are raising our dog.
Yes, absolutely.
So now let's wind back the clock and then let's start from the day, or sometime before Noor came home, because I was having this conversation with you earlier and you told
Yeah.
me very interestingly that you were actually scared of dogs, right? So first of all, why were you scared of dogs, and how did that change over time?
uh, I was scared of dogs purely because of the unknown. Like, I didn't know what to expect if a dog came near me. And honestly, nobody in my family has ever been, friendly towards dogs. Matlab, for them, dogs didn't exist. Hey, they exist somewhere. Not we don't bother about them. And nobody in my family has ever had pets. So again, no animal interaction basically as such. So you don't know what to expect. And dogs, the fear comes because they are on the street, they are open, and you know they're right there. So if you do something wrong, maybe they get upset, and obviously the basic fear that hey, they might come and bite you or chase you or something like that, which is what was not being introduced to dogs or not knowing about them at all, whether at school or through family or anywhere, is basically what created the fear in my mind. But
And I
somehow,
think you grew up in
sorry,
Chennai, right?
no, I grew up in Bombay.
Bombay, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
but my
metropolitan
extended
cities,
family is in Chennai.
yeah, and metropolitan cities, both
Yeah,
Mumbai, Chennai, have a lot of street dogs in our urban areas.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And constantly, I think when I was also growing up, the constant thing was like if I would go to a road or a community that has a lot of dogs, my parents will warn me and say, "Hey, careful! There are a lot of dogs over there.
Yeah, yeah,
They might
exactly.
bite you." And that kind
Exactly.
of just sits in your head, right?
It's
Constantly.
in your head, yeah. That's true. That's true. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. Yeah, general fear, and because like now I see schools are sensitizing kids about the fact that you need to coexist with other animals around you. But I mean I think that was a stretch for us to be schooled at that time.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
not can't expect that. But yeah, that was it. But somehow my sister was like the outlier in this because she always loved dogs, and she was the exact opposite of me. Like, I would avoid going to people's houses where they had pets, and my sister would go to people's houses who had dogs. She chose people who had dogs as her friends so that she could hang out there more often. So, she was the one who was always insisting that, hey, I want to get a dog, I want to get a dog. And uh, the
So your
rest of
sister
us
is
in the
younger to
house were
you?
like, you are enough. Huh?
Your
Sorry?
sister was younger to you.
Yeah, yeah, she's 8 years younger to me. So we
Eight
were
years.
like, okay, you're like a puppy dog only. Yeah, I mean, we don't need one more.
Yeah,
So
younger siblings get away with a lot more than the elder ones, right? So,
exactly, yeah.
okay. So, from being fearful of dogs to today where you are like a indie dog mom yourself, like what happened? Like how did this transition actually start happening? Like who were the influencers who were making you less scared of dogs?
So my sister, one of my best friends, and my then partner, all three of them were like they used to love dogs, petting dogs on the street. And I was like, Arey, ye dog ko thoda dur rakho, why are you petting when I'm around type thing. But they used to do this all the time. And somehow it just seemed like, hey, if the dog is not doing anything to them, maybe I should, because obviously dogs are cute, you can't deny that, but just it's your fear that stops you from being friendly with them. So once or twice I like literally like touched a dog like I touched a hot pan, like just like that. And I said, okay, 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 thank you for not doing anything to me.
More to show
um,
your
हाँ,
family
more,
that
more
I'm
to tell
okay.
them कि देखो देखो
Yeah.
मैंने touch किया है. You want me to touch the dog? I touch the dog. Don't expect much out of me, except this. So that's how it used to be. And then over time, like over a few years, I just started getting a little bit more, comfortable with them. And then I was on this trip to Uttarakhand, and that's where the decision to bring in Noor was taken. But that's where I got friendly with the mountain dogs, and I think they are something special because
Oh
they
yeah.
just they melt you. They just turn you into a dog lover. They'll follow you around, come with you on hikes and trails, and come
Yeah,
back with
amazing.
you. It's just, and they're so huge. Technically, they're scarier looking than the ones in the city, but they are just absolute fluff balls. Like they're so cute and like so okay with anybody touching them, cuddling them. And I remember I had put this Facebook picture of me with this huge black dog from the mountain, and everybody's response was like, what is this? You're putting a picture with a dog and that too itna bada, like it's literally almost your height. And I was like, no, yeah, this dog was so friendly with us. In that particular day in Lander, he was everywhere with us, and that's when my sister was trying to get Noor a home very desperately, and I was like, if I can be this friendly and this comfortable with a dog that I don't know, I'm sure I'll figure something out if a dog comes into my house.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's how it kind of
that's how it
influenced me. But
started. Yeah,
huh,
but
but
then
I
the
didn't know
story
what
changes
to.
so many twists after that.
Yeah, I didn't know what to like expect. Like
Yeah.
touching dogs, I was like, okay, if there is a dog in my house, I won't necessarily be very scared.
Yeah, but first of all, like just a big shout out to all those dogs in the mountains, no? Because now I look back, like I'm looking at your story, and I'm like, when did I also really fall in love with dogs? It was actually on a trip to Rishikesh, where a lot of us
Hmm.
had went from college, and then there were like these three dogs who followed us entire trail to and fro, chilled with us. They had puppies also there that chilled with us on a hammock. I mean, they're just so cuddly. I mean, they're not really cuddly, but like the puppies were cuddly. The big ones are just like, hey, I'm at a distance from you, but I like you and I will follow
Yeah,
you. I will give you help wherever you need it and all of that, right? Like, very nice
absolutely.
temperament.
Yeah, they have very nice temperament. That is really true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
But guys, that doesn't mean you'll bring them home because they're very happy where they are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Please don't bring one home just because they are fluffy.
yeah, but it is quite tempting. So I can imagine why.
I know.
So okay, so great. So now you have officially fallen for dogs, right? Like
Yeah,
kind of in the infatuation stage with dogs.
yeah.
And so now let's hear the Noor backstory. So what happened from here to the point that you actually got Noor into your life, right?
So basically, my sister and her fiance and her friends and all, they were kind of taking care of this the streeties in that area where he used to live,
Oh,
where
okay,
her
okay.
friends and her fiance used to live. They were taking care of the streeties in the area, like feeding them and stuff. And on one of the days, one of her friends, she was feeding Noor's litter. Like Noor was one of the puppies in the litter, and a guy, he was drunk or something. He came and he ran over one of the puppies by mistake. Puppy passed away. So she kind of fought with him, saying that they're right here. How could you not see them? The guy was drunk, so he was talking back to her, and she was like a 24-year-old kid. Yeah, I mean she was like fighting with him, and he took it to his ego. So he said, "Abhi tomorrow you see you're fighting with me about a dog. Like एक dog ही तो मर गया क्या है इसमें और पांच चल रहे हैं ना इधर types." So she told him that I'm going to complain about you, and this is not. You should at least be apologetic. This that etc. And he said, "You wait tomorrow. I'm going to एक एक करके तुम्हारे सब puppies गायब कर दूंगा."
Oh my
And
God.
oh, I
Drama.
mean, nasty.
Yeah.
So one of the puppies, so out of the litter of six, three were gone. How those two went, we don't know. Whether he relocated them or what he did, we don't know. But one had died, two were gone, and three were left. Noor, her sister, and her brother. Uh, so she immediately got the brother adopted in a nearby house as a guard dog. She took one of the dogs herself, one of the puppies herself, Noor's sister, and then Noor was the last one left out. And she was fearful that she's alone now, and how will she survive because I mean she doesn't have a pack with her and nobody's left there. So she was trying really hard. So my sister, her fiance, everybody was trying really hard to get Noor adopted. And at that time, like I told you, that's when I was just warming up to dogs, and I had like my first interaction with dogs, which I felt comfortable. And I was like, okay, weren't we always supposed to get a dog sometime in life? So let's just do it. Like she can't die. We have to save her. कोई मिल नहीं रहा है इसके लिए. And she was like little scrawny, little ऐसा brown color scrawny type puppy. So Her sister is like a beauty queen. She's chocolate brown and she had blue eyes, and now it's turned
Wow.
hazel. Noor also had green eyes and now it's turned hazel. But I mean, obviously anybody would pick her sister. Ye thoda sa rugged bacha was it. So I was like, okay, nobody will pick her. I feel like nobody will take her home if I don't take her home. And I brought her home like an impulse decision. So
Oh,
it was like, okay,
wow.
let's do it.
Okay, so Mridula, now we have decided that we'll get Noor into our house, right?
Yeah.
So you have taken this mantle upon yourself to raise this scrawny kid of the litter
Yeah.
and make her into like a well-beloved citizen of your back household, right? How were
That's
the
how it looks right now, not when it started out.
So how were the initial few days? Because I can't imagine how you went from like just being okay to touch dogs, being okay to click a few photos, to now like you are spending the entire time with Noor, who's a puppy, who's biting you, who's toileting everywhere, who's
Yeah.
whining for food. How was that experience?
So the only thing I was prepared when we decided to bring her home in Uttarakhand was dog bowls. That's all I had bought. I was there and I had ordered like on Amazon. 2 days mein I'll be back in Bombay. 2 days mein Noor will be home, and we need dog bowls to give her food. Uh, Because how much do you know? And my idea of puppies was YouTube videos and all these like cute videos on social media. And I say, okay, dogs are fun. You lift them up, pick them up, do puchu puchu and all that stuff. I had no idea about puppy phase in dogs, so I was zero preparation. But the one thing I'll give kudos to my then partner was he trained her. Like how?
Oh,
So we the first day when we went to pick her up, we put her in a shelter for 2 days that we would take to come back from Uttarakhand to Bombay, and we went the immediate next morning after we reached to pick her up. And my sister told me, see, you're the one who's right now working from home, and you will probably be around her more. So why don't you pick her up? Like you be the first person to touch her and lift her up and all of that. And mind you, Noor there was like the most thakela puppy. She had no. She was like God. All and there were 2 3 other puppies in that shelter where she was there for 2 3 days, and they were all kind of whining for our attention, jumping on us and stuff. She couldn't care less. She's like, "Kaun hai kya?" People,
did
something
you
like
at
that.
that moment for a second think, Are, have we made the right decision of
Yeah,
bringing
yeah.
Noor?
I totally looked at the other dog, which was like a white dog with a brown eye patch, so cute looking, and he was such a jumpy, happy puppy. And I was like, hey, he looks cuter, no? So I was that person who judged on looks, but
I
honestly,
mean,
I
it's
mean,
very natural. It happens to everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happens, but yeah, I mean, I would have almost thought that anyway. I don't think everybody around would have taken that decision along with me. We had committed to Noor, so we brought. I think commitment started from that minute. we Nothing else
Solid commitment.
comes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I picked her up, and in 2 seconds I got scared. I gave her to my sister, and I said, "Tu utha le." And I just sat with her in the back seat of the car, and within 10 minutes she puked on me. So that was like, welcome to dog mom life. so she, so this is Noor, first day in the car. She could not take it for 5 10 minutes, and now she's done a 12-day road trip in the car. So I think she's kind of grown so much. But yeah, I mean the initial days was like puke, pee, poop. None of which I was, and I used to be germophobic and all, like very like you don't, and wash your hands and that kind of person.
Yeah.
And now I'm the nothing gags me anymore. I see puke, I'm like, okay, gotta
Yeah,
pick it
and
up.
honestly,
रोज ही
yes,
उठाते
there are
हैं.
two things over here, right? Like, first, that whole germophobic angle. I think that is also something that is culturally driven into us. When we're
Yes.
growing up, and I know you're a Brahmin, right? So, in your home, particularly the cleanliness, the
Oh
hygiene
yeah, yeah.
factor is really high,
We
right?
single-handedly run the soap industry.
Soap and bath wash and shampoo.
Yeah, yeah, all that, everything. Washing hand, leg after for everything. Yeah.
And honestly, like if you ask any mom today as a 20-year-old, hey, I want to get a dog, there are two reasons she'll give. One, you will not take care of it, I'll have to take care of it.
Yeah.
Second, the hygiene. right?
Yes.
So the germophobic angle is actually very important. It's something that is very instinctively playing in the back
It
of our
is.
heads. So was that a little bit stressful? Because
It
cleaning
was.
all of the stuff that was coming out must have made you feel like, what am I into right now?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, she reached home, and in the first 5 minutes, she smelt all the corners of the living room, and she pooped
She pooped.
in the house. Just like she's like, okay, I should kind of poop here and say this is where I am. So that was crazy, and I think at least at that stage. Firstly, I thought I'm not going to be so involved. Okay, cleaning and all. Okay, everybody will clean. Who I will clean. My partner will clean. Joby, we will clean and stuff. But I didn't think I would need to train her, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was my job as such. I just had to be okay around her, not fearful. And I was practicing to train myself for that, not
Yeah.
for taking care of her. So we took 2 weeks to train her for the pee training, a pee poop training thing. And that's when I realized that okay, she learns very well, because since then she had I think Noor has changed 3 homes, and she also frequents my parents' home, and she knows that she has to go to the bathroom and pee near the drain at home. I trained her once in the first house. After that, she's done it on her own, and I'm like, okay, wow. Like,
This is the interesting part, right? Like you faced all these troubles, and then you're talking about how today it's in sharp contrast, right? Like now,
yeah,
Noor is so well behaved. She's almost like a gentle lady.
yep,
She's well behaved at your place, at your parents' place, anywhere else, like on trips that you take her to. So this does not, as far as we can tell, this does not come easy. For some who are lucky, maybe it's easy, but for some who are not, like we need to put in a lot of effort,
yes,
which we did not expect before getting a dog. So
yep.
can you because a lot of parents are in the same boat like I was, where we did not at all expect the amount of work that we will put into this. Can you explain the kind of effort that you were putting into the first 6 months? And also like because you expected to just be and she just expected that like your journey with Noor is going to be I have to be comfortable with her. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I have to train her. I don't have to be like a mom to her, right? Like I have to be just comfortable with her.
Yes.
So this journey would have taken place in such a way that it changed your mindset, first of all, when you started taking control of Noor's destiny more and more. And second, then skilling yourself to actually help Noor learn all this, right? So how did these things happen?
So the first, I mean, I there are two versions of this in my head. The first version was what I was telling you, that I always thought I'm going to be like the secondary person. But when I think back, I think I was always, in the forefront, because the before the night we landed from Uttarakhand, and the next day I was supposed to go pick her up. I spoke to my sister's friend who's had a dog for 10 years, and I asked her, listen, I don't know anything about having a dog. Can you tell me what I need to do first few days of dog in house? What are rules? So I said, बहुत basic बताना, बहुत basic. So she told me some basic stuff and all, and she told me what to keep handy and all of that. And then she told me there's a dog behaviorist whom you can speak to, who can help you. And I was like, great, give me the number. So first day when I got her home, I think I called that the person, and I told him, listen, I know zero about dogs, and you have to help me. And I found it very interesting that she connected me to a dog behaviorist, dog psychologist, or something. That I think that's what he prefers to call himself, and not a trainer. So, but in parallel, someone had suggested one trainer also. The guy came with a rolled up newspaper and he said, "Aisa type karne ka that," and he was out in the next 20 minutes. I was like, please jao. And he was supposed to be some trainer for some police dogs and all, some very whatever thing. And I could
Yeah,
not, the vibe only did not match. I was like, please leave. I can't.
yeah, I can totally
And she was
imagine.
such a tiny pup. Yeah, what newspaper I'm rolling, I'll show her. Like, ek to she was, and she used to, Noor, in the first few days at least, was such a quiet dog. I think she also got that vibe from me that I'm not sure of her, and she was also not sure of me in like my presence. So she used to just sit on her spot. She had a spot in the living room. She used to just sit there and not do much. Pretty much like sleep, or like not do move around much. as much as you think puppies do. So I was like, isko kya डांटना hai? Just pee poop. I need to train her. Na, that's and when initially I think that's what you think training means. Pee training, poop training. That's it.
Correct.
You don't
Yeah.
even know much for a person with zero about dogs, right? So, but this dog psychologist, I mean, he very clearly said that I have 6 sessions. The first 3 sessions are for you. I'm not even going to talk to the dog. I'm not even meeting the dog. It's for you to learn about dog psychology, and then I will teach you basics of leash handling and some basic behaviors like don't enter the kitchen type thing and all that. So I said, great. So I think that's where it started, that I started approaching her as a species that I don't know. I was never like, oh, she's my
That's
baby
very important.
thing,
Yeah.
because I could not look at her like that. I mean, for better or for worse, I could not look at her as my baby. So I was like, this is some other janwar. I don't know what the species is like. So please tell me. I think that's where I think I was already kind of on the learning journey.
And that's so important because if you think about it, a lot of times where we start imposing our expectations on the dog is where we go wrong, right? So it's so good to see that even though you were so skeptical about dogs, and even though you had started along this journey of giving all your love to dogs slowly, the mindset to be prepared, to do the research beforehand, to learn about your dog and all the nuances around her behavior, psychology from day one, I think was definitely like commendable, right? Like a lot of people do. Like most of the people just get into the trap of just trying to enjoy puppyhood as much as possible, right? Like just cuddle and like just lick and like
But
that's
I did
all you do.
miss her puppyhood because I was so stressed during that time. Like, I'm like, oh, can you go back to being like a 4-month-old puppy again? But
Yeah, balance is recommended, guys. Both sides are
yeah, I
important.
know. I think I was too hard on myself and her, because I was like, listen, I'm learning so much. I'm training you. You better learn now.
You better learn now. Huh?
So
You better get that certificate first class.
first rank you have to get to. Nothing. No, but no, I was just like, I'm going to do everything. So I also want to see results, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
that's because how I'm in life. I'm like, I'm doing everything. I need results.
I need
So
results. Very result driven.
yeah, so I expected that. But the first year of having Noor was very different. Although I did realize that I need help, I will never like instinctively know what to do with a dog. I also put that pressure on myself and her, saying, "अरे, अब कुछ चीजें तो ऐसे होना ही है. Like you are not supposed to enter the kitchen means you're not supposed to enter. You know,
Yeah,
those kind of things. I was very like strongly imposing on her, and even the people training. Whenever there were accidents, I would just lose it. I'm like, "अरे, I just trained you so much. How can you, kind of do this?" And I never understood that why she's a puppy. There are things like bladder control that they learn later. The and how much they eat, and what food they eat. Like there's so much around why they pee frequently as puppies, right?
yeah,
I did not put any thought into that, but now when I talk to people who are in the puppy stage and they say that, "Arey, my dog pees like 9 times in a day," I'm like, of course, your child, if you had, would pee poo and pee that many times, right? You were changing
correct,
diapers, no? Same logic, yeah. Like
correct.
how do you expect any different from them?
Yeah,
So that I think is like I've kind of gotten softer on her and myself after.
please do. You guys
Yeah,
are doing amazing. So please be soft on yourself and her.
yeah.
Uh,
Now,
so so the you made a very interesting point, right? Like that all the help that you could get, you were trying to get, right?
yeah,
But then we discussed, right? Like when you got Noor, you had 4 5 other people in your life, and now you're primarily a single mom. Yes, Noor also visits a lot of other households that are close to you,
yeah,
but how has that transition shaped your journey, right? Because this is very personal to me because it something like similar happened to me as well, where I got Drogo with my flatmates, and over like the next 6 months, it was essentially me and Drogo who were sort of traveling the journey of pet ownership,
pet.
pet parenting, whatever you want to call it together,
Uh,
right? Like, but it was very stressful for when the day you realize, oh my God, I'm not going to have the support around me, is very stressful.
yeah.
Uh, how was that journey for you? Like, How did you travel that path?
Actually, this was a very sensitive journey also. Um, my sister leaving for studies, or fiance leaving for studies, was like, okay, theek hai, fine. This is like a life
Yeah.
thing. But I always thought me and my partner would be parenting her. And when that didn't happen, and somehow by default, she landed with me. Also, I felt somewhere that I know I will do my best for her.
Yeah.
So there was never a question of not having her with me. And honestly, that's when I realized that she is literally what they call a soul dog, because she was with me in the toughest phase, and she taught me so many things that there was no question of me not being that committed to her. So the journey thing happened as a very emotional way, and less about acha abhi aur koi nahi hai to I only have to do, right? Because uh, obviously when you have a dog you have an active lifestyle, you
Yeah.
have to keep up with their lifestyle, feed them on time, take them on walks, play with them, so many other things. And having her kind of help me keep my life on track. So the commitment and the bond of moving from being comfortable with her to being like a very involved pet parent, or like identifying myself as a dog mom now. I mean, that's my like, I'm dog mom, then lawyer, then whatever. So it changed in that much time, like versus what I was doing. And I think in that time I also didn't focus too much on her training. That time was like, there were so many changes happening in life that the most I could do was ensure that all the basic needs were met for her. So I didn't focus on her training after, I think after between her 9 months of age to actually when I started with you guys. uh, yeah, about 9 to 16
Around her
months.
adolescent period, yeah.
Yeah, around her adolescent period. So there was this phase where I was just on autopilot. Whatever is working is working. She's healthy, she's fine, she gets her walks. And yeah, I mean, that's where it was. It's only after that when, it started moving into this very involved thing as to what her, what she eats.
Hmm.
That also changed. So, in a Brahmin household, meat is like a big no
No,
no.
no, yeah.
But I mean, she eats her species appropriate diet and all of that now, because now I've also, like, I had zero idea about meat as well, never touched it and stuff. So for me, I was like, what is this? Which part is this? Or like, how do you touch it with the spoon? Like,
How do you
so
break it into pieces? How do you give
Ha.
it?
No, so I thought I would go to that, but I couldn't. That there was like a limit where I could tolerate, which is basically smell and handling a little bit. But I can't cook meat, so I just ensured that I find the next best alternative, which is fresh food. Freshly cooked, home cooked food coming for her every day. And that's when I even learned about so many things. People have been like, "Arey, my dog used to eat Tarik Sadam all his life and lived." So curd
Hmm.
rice was acceptable food for a dog for their entire life. And I mean, touch wood that the dog lived a long life. But
But if you can do better, why not?
yeah, exactly. When you have the means to, then, and you have knowledge now, why not? So
Right.
that's when it moved from
So
how it was earlier.
in this like 30 to 40 minute chat till now, right? We have seen Mridula change from an absolute scaredy cat of dogs to a dog lover, change from like a complete workaholic to a dog mom first and then everything else after. Changed from raising dogs with like family and support to raising dogs alone, from like not knowing anything about dog psychology to knowing so much, and then working with a trainer at that junction of 9 to 10 months, and then figuring out her psychology in a great detail, working on elements of behavior and emotion like anxiety, stress, all of which are part of your journey, right? Like
Yeah,
so much you have changed, no, Mridula, if you think about it, in the last one and a
yeah,
half,
yeah.
2 years.
This is the single biggest flip in my life. I have not, I was so sure about everything in my life. This is the only thing that I had no opinion on in my life, right? I mean,
No
what
control
did
on
I?
this. It just
I had
happened.
no control, and I never thought on. So what do I think about dogs? Nothing. They exist.
Yeah.
But now it is like 100% flip. So I mean, this is like the only place I can say pre and post is pre Noor and post Noor. Everything else is like okay, as in my control. This is the only thing that just
What a quote! Like I'm going to quote you on this.
yeah, yeah.
How amazing pre Noor and post Noor. I think every parent has a pre dog and post dog phase, right? Like they understand, and this is what I feel people really need to realize, that you have to be open to these kind of changes in your life, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're not open to these kind of changes, like if you get a dog home and you're like, no, I'm not going to learn about dog psychology and dog behavior. Why do I need to do that? I'm just going to cuddle with my dog and that's it,
Hmm.
right? That's not going to go down very well, because if you don't accept the dog for who they are, they may not accept you for who you are as well, and then you will
True.
have all these kind of conflicts at home. Like
Yeah.
leash pulling is just a very basic part of it, right? Like, but you see so many dogs and parents struggle with issues like reactivity, aggression, and so on and so forth, right? Like it's very stressful. So if you're not open to these kind of changes, if you're not in a life situation where you can even allow these changes, right? Like for if you're going to college, some of these changes you can't allow because you just don't have the time or the bandwidth
Yeah.
to allow this,
True.
right? Parenting is really tough. I know this because Drogo and I struggled together for more than 2 years together. And the thing is, nobody told us this before we started our journey. Pet parents need help. And this is why, at the Pack, we are bringing together some of the most experienced pet parents, most dedicated mentors, and even certified experts to provide the help that every parent needs in order to raise happier dogs at home. Today, our community is home to more than 3,000 members who get help every day on their daily parenting issues. Would you like to join them? If yes, please do check out the link in the description below, and I hope to see you there in our community. So if there are a few things you want to sort of convey to pet parents as like recommendations, knowing the journey that you've had with Noor, what would be the like 4, 5 top recommendations? Or you could just give like 2, 3 also if that's okay.
So I think the major thing would be that although I made an impulsive decision to bring in Noor, uh, it required a lot of follow through after that. And like you said, being open to so many changes. For me, it happened purely because of my love for her. But I've seen people around me, like my parents, who my mom used to be like 10x version of me with dogs, and now she is like Noor and my mom are one other love story. So we can't even yeah, it's very rare that you actually get to this. So if you are bringing in a dog, it has to be a very well thought out, very well planned decision. And it should be irrespective of, once you've gotten the dog, irrespective of family situation or time, resources, whatever it is, the commitment has to be there long term, because you have 10 other things in your life. Your dog may be one part of it, but for your dog you are everything. So I remember I recently was saying this somewhere, that sometimes people say, oh, you're literally, your life revolves around Noor. And I'm like, why not? Her life revolves around me. Like, she doesn't have anything else other than whatever I bring to her, whatever I offer to her is what she makes the most out of, right? So
Correct.
I think that much commitment is needed if you really want to enjoy the journey of being with your pet,
Yeah.
and not just have it as like, okay, it's exists. There is one dog in my house that sleeps, I go and cuddle with it. If you want more than that, then I think you have to be open to all of these things.
And
And the other thing
if you
is
sorry,
species. Yeah.
I was saying that if you really want to enjoy pet parenting, you have
Yeah.
to give that, right? If you just say that you're going to cuddle with your dog, you're not probably going to enjoy all aspects of pet parenting.
Actually, cuddling with Noor came as a reward for me putting in all the hard work. She was not a cuddly dog. If I used to feel scared to touch her, even after it was just me and her in the house, I used to feel scared to touch her without her active like permission, because I would be petting her and suddenly she would go like, enough, stop it, kind of thing. And cuddling her was out of question. She was, I had labeled her as a non-cuddly dog. But now, after building this bond with her, like she also started trusting me, seeing that I'm doing all of these things, and she started trusting me, and that's why she's now given me that liberty that, hey, now you can, yes, I know that you always do right by me, so you can cuddle with me and, whatever. I'm like 100% your dog now. So,
You have earned the right to be
yeah,
Noor's mom
absolutely. I
fully.
think
Yeah.
it definitely came as a reward.
Wow. How
Yeah. She also did reward based training with me.
and over such a long term, right? Like over 10, 12
Yeah,
months.
yeah. She gave little.
So commitment to your dog, commitment to your journey together, that's really important, right? And I think we've learned that also from your story that, it's so crucial. Is there anything else that you would like to highlight?
The species thing, I think that's very important. While I know
What is the species thing? Yeah.
we humanize them, and I mean, obviously we do. Like even I do. I'm not saying I'm playing by the textbook here, but there has to be. We need to understand that they are a different species, but they are the most, most closest that animal human bond will get, and hence they've obviously survived as human companions for so many millions of years. So they are flexible, but let's not like humanize them and start expecting things from them like you would from a human, because we all know our dogs have one brain cell. How much effort you put in? So no, I'm kidding, but no, I think treating her as a
A
different
dog.
species,
Yeah.
yeah, is what helped me get into the learning side as such. Because if I'd
Absolutely.
humanized her, then and I think that's one more thing that Noor's first trainer told me was, she is first your first a dog, uh, then her name, and then however you want to treat her, like your child, like your sibling, or whatever it is. So you need to do that. I think that's a big takeaway that's worked for me even now.
Very handy advice. Do you want to give a shout out to this amazing person who guided you through the first
Oh,
few months?
this is Akash Shukla from Dog Mantra.
Very, very handy advice for life, no?
Yeah, absolutely. He gave the first three. Learning the human part was, I think, very crucial. I mean, everything else, I'm sure there are exceptionally skilled trainers who can teach you all of this. But the first three sessions where we had to actually learn about human dog,
Yeah,
psychology connection thing. And now I hear it, a lot more. I think dog training has also changed so much, right?
absolutely.
Everybody now focuses on the fact that you don't baby them all the time, and there's the concept of energy. What energy you bring to them, they kind of feed off it. And I've seen all of that practically happening with Noor. So she's as if I'm in my vibrant phase, she's as vibrant. If I'm like in my travel phase, she's like, let's go kind of thing. And if I'm down, she's like, okay, let's not socialize today, nobody allowed in the house type. So it's she is literally
She's your
and
still
I
fan.
can't blame her. I'm big emotions person, she's big emotions dog.
Thank you.
Both energy match.
So commitment to the journey of raising your dog, commitment to your dog, and also seeing them as dogs, right? Like these are like really, really important aspects of pet parenting that I think every one of us can learn from Mridula's journey. And I think I'll add one more is that willingness to adapt, willingness to change is also very, very important. Like you have no idea what's going to happen to your life. Like people will come, people will go, houses will be shifted, jobs will be relocated, but this dog is still going to stay with you. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dog is never going to give up on you unless
Constant.
the only thing that can happen is you giving up on the dog. And please don't do that. Like, why do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good quote. The dog will never give up on you. You may give up on the dog will never. Because she sat through struggling
All of this.
stage Mridula and learning Mridula and, committed Mridula. And now she's like, okay, now 3 years this woman
You've
took.
gone through this seesaw together, the roller coaster ride together.
Yeah.
Nice.
She must be sitting and she'll get there.
Still get
Thinking, poor human, she's trying so hard. Let me also.
Oh man, how cool.
She's
So
very smart.
what's like, let's end on a positive note. What's your next goal for Noor? I know that you guys just did like a long trip, and I know you guys have worked through your own fair share of problems even after the adolescent stage. I think big
Yep.
shout out to Calvin and Namrata who have worked with you throughout the stage of
100%. I think they changed so much for me. Like I used to, like the walk used to be a task I had to complete in the day,
yeah,
but now our walks are just,
best
I
part of
mean,
it.
it's the best part of the day, and we just go. It's not even a walk. We go out, we have fun. We go to the park, we train, we sit, watch the world go by. We go to cafes together. She loves Blue Tokai, by the way.
Oh wow.
So she has a preference in cafes also.
Very
So
brand conscious lady.
yeah, yeah, very, very. She's very brand conscious and all. So I think that the going out part, because I was learning how to treat her underconfidence and her reaction towards other dogs. That has, Calvin was very hands-on on that. And with Namrata, I think the big thing about separation anxiety, when you're a single parent with a separation anxiety dog and you yourself have separation anxiety as well with them, that can kill your social life.
Yeah,
And somewhere you end
absolutely.
up blaming the dog. Actually, it's your mistake,
Absolutely.
but you blame the dog, saying because of you I can't go anywhere,
Yeah,
I'm tethered home. And sometimes you wear your, wear it like a crown, saying, hey, I'm so committed, I stay at home only for my dog. But that's not,
absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
not right. I saw it turning, very not in a good way for me. I just could not step out anywhere because Noor would not be even 1 minute away from me. And I think with all the training and support that I've got, she moved from that to, now on the trip, she was alone in the hotel room for 3, 4 hours. And
wow,
in
that's
a new
amazing.
environment,
In a
can you
new
imagine in
environment,
a new
yeah.
environment? She was alone for 3, 4 hours. She had all the tools available to her to ensure that she's calm and she's, she feels comfortable and safe and all that. And that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't,
Months
got
back.
the right guidance, or rather, if I wouldn't have got the right guidance to, teach her. So thanks to Namrata, now I have a social life.
It's a constant journey. Like something or the other will keep
Yeah,
happening, and something or the other. Like we should never be shy of asking for help. Also, like from whether it's from
absolutely. Yeah,
friends
yeah.
around you, whether it's from people who know more than us. So, what is next? What is the big goal that you have for Noor in 2024? If you have a goal,
Okay, this is like big goal. If I say, then it doesn't happen. I don't know. But
you're
last year,
committing
my
to the world now.
what?
You're
Shit.
committing to the world.
No, so last year my goal was to get her to travel. This year it is about us traveling together, like by ourselves. And I'm not saying that I'm going to travel from here to north or Bombay to north or something. I know that's practically too much to expect. But we did do a family trip to the south. So I think she's gotten so comfortable with the car. I think that at least helps me to ensure that I'm outdoorsy, she's outdoorsy, and we have, this outdoorsy life. So that's my commitment to her. That we're going to see more of the world. Her world is not only this much; she's going to see so much more of the world with me, and I'm lucky. Like she's outdoorsy as well, so it's amazing. And to add, I hope to be able to foster a dog this time. So I know whether Noor is ever going to be okay with a sibling. So too much guts I got. Thanks to Noor. I'm thinking single single mom with dog. First was my tagline. Now single mom with 2 dogs. Too much. But that's
Wow.
that's that's the hope someday. If the
No, these are
fostering.
big goals. These are goals that you'll have to work hard towards, and I think that's what keeps you committed, also, right? Like having goals, and then okay, let's see if we can achieve this. Let's see if
Yeah,
we can achieve that.
absolutely.
Pushing the limits of what we can do as a parent,
Yeah.
and also like constantly checking in and seeing if our dogs are good. They enjoy this. They are also part of the journey
Yeah.
upwards. Then yes, let's do it. She loved that journey which you had going back home, and I'm sure she will absolutely love the journey wherever else you take her.
Yeah. That's that's
What a
true.
nice way to end this podcast. No, thank you so much, Mridula. Thank you so much for everything you do. I think there's so many more aspects of your life that we did not cover, but this itself was like so many drama, so many
Yeah,
twists.
I know.
I mean, you have been amazing as a pack mentor as well, right? Like
Thank
helping
you.
us understand so much about the legalities of having a dog at home, what societies can do, what societies can't do. We are going to have a lot of articles in our pack library that are influenced by all the knowledge that Mridula has helped us uncover. So the links will be in the description of this episode as well when they come out. And yeah, and apart from that, just helping so many parents around you as well, right? Like we see constantly in our communities how parents are stressing over so many different
Yeah,
things,
I
and to be
it's
the
so
voice of
relatable.
reason, yeah,
It's so relatable. I wish I had,
a
I
community
mean,
around,
sooner or like earlier, I had, the pack community around me because honestly, I mean, I'm taking this opportunity to do a big shout out to you guys also. I remember, when we connected, and I was just thinking that I've come across trainers and great trainers who are, doing very well in their respective fields, but nobody being as passionate and committed to this journey. It's always been about, okay, X number of sessions, this is what I'm going to train y'all, and that's basically it. But with the pack, I think what I've seen is, as passionate as the pet parents who are part of the pack community are, you guys are equally passionate about it, and I
Thank you.
love that aspect. And that's why, being closely associated with you guys as mentors and all of that is, it just comes naturally. It's the wavelength which is superbly matching when it comes to dogs. By the way, I want to give a shout out here. I'm also now a cat person.
Okay, that's another podcast episode entirely.
Yes. How people can go from being non-animal person to
To dog parents
animal
and
person.
cat persons.
Absolutely.
Have you fostered cats?
No, I co-parent my neighbors' cats. Two of
Oh,
my neighbors have cats. One has three cats, and one has two kittens, whom we recently rescued. So there are five cats in my life. That
and how is Noor with cats?
she's very curious. So
Oh,
I've kept the distance because she wants to go close to them, and I don't think they're ready yet. To She's too big an animal for them. So
yeah.
she's just generally curious.
When they're
She's
ready,
got
they will
two, three
be.
fatkas from cats.
Yeah, exactly. When they're ready, they will be all over Noor. Like Noor
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be like, "Oh my God, please leave me now."
Yeah, what did I didn't ask for this.
I am supposed to be your hunter.
Exactly. True. But she's stolen their toys and, like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. She's gone to my neighbor's house, stolen their toys, and that cat toy is her favorite toy. The tiny little cat toy that she has. But
how
yeah,
cute!
it's
I'm
fun.
definitely going to put a picture of that cat toy in this somewhere in this podcast
Yes.
episode.
Yes, for sure.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you so much, Mridula. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for
Thanks, Loki.
sharing. I know it's not easy to share such personal and intimate aspects of our parenting journeys, but it's really helpful because from this, I'm hoping that at least one other parent who is going through something very similar in their life can look at this and gain some confidence that, hey, there is help. If you need help, there's always help around the corner. And just accept the dog for who they are, commit to the journey, and you'll be fine.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much for hearing me out as well.
Thank you, Mridula. Thank you so much.
Did you like that episode? Drogo and I definitely did. If you enjoy this type of content, then please do like and share so that other pet parents can also learn from Mridula's journey. Subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more episodes from Humans of the Pack.